A lot of you may have noticed that in the last week or so, a lot of FPL accounts have been hacked and deleted or really messed around with. And if you're not on Twitter, you'll have missed the news that Fantasy Football Hub has been hacked. And I'm going to go into the reasons about what's happened and why. And I'm going to give my opinion on why I think as well. I don't want to victim blame, but I do want to point out some of the major flaws in what is going on in this story. But before you go to the likes and the dislikes and start shouting at me in the comments, please, for the first time, listen to me and go to the Fantasy Premier League website, scroll down towards the bottom of the page, click where it says here user profile and the admin bottom right, click on that, scroll down again and change your password. Something unique, something you just use for FPL. So I wanted to make this video because, to be honest, a lot of it hasn't sat right with me, and I'm not giving the hacker any kind of moral high ground. I'm not trying to have a pop at Fantasy Football Hub, but I think how they've handled it wrong. I'll explain the whole story, but the key reason as well that I wanted to make the video is it's affected our very own community. I know that there's at least 2 of you guys in our community who've messaged me to let me know that your teams have been hacked, that your teams have been played around with, deleted, name changes, the lot. So I also wanted to make this video not just to explain what is happening with Fantasy Football Hub and with the hacking information and people's emails, passwords being stolen by a hacker, but I also wanted to tell you guys to change your password and make sure it's unique in any email. If you've signed up to Fantasy Football Hub as a member or a paying member or subscriber, whatever email you've used in that password, change every password that you've connected to that email. So if you've signed up to Fantasy Football Hub with john@gmail.com and whatever else you use with john@gmail.com, go and change the password. So part of it is to rant and explain why I'm not happy with a lot of the things that have happened with this story, but also to warn you guys who are not on Twitter to go change your password, because it's a very large possibility. There's 70,000 emails and passwords that have suspectedly been hacked. So it's just to warn you guys to go out there and change your passwords. So I'm going to get into the story, and then I'm going to explain why a lot of it has just sort of wound me up a little bit. So it started a few nights ago. It was the middle of the night UK time, about 3 a.m, where you can see up here there was this suspicious Fantasy Football Hub post on their official Twitter, which is just shy of 100,000 followers. And it says, "It is with great sadness that we are announcing the immediate closure of fantasyfootballhub.co.uk due to reasons outside of our control. During a recent transaction involving the sale of our user data to a marketing firm," which already started to raise a few alarm bells, by the way, guys, "all data pertaining to the users of fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, including plain text passwords, was accessed by a malicious third-party actor. As such, we have decided to immediately cease all operations. We'll be not issuing any refunds under any circumstances." So here's why the alarm bells were ringing. First, it was completely like out there in the middle of the night UK time. So it was either they're doing it to hide or they got hacked. So the alarm bells as well was the fact that it says here, "involving the sale of our user data to a marketing firm." A lot of major companies do that. That's how Facebook earned billions and billions of pounds. That's how they're so wealthy, because they take your personal information and they sell it to advertising and marketing firms. But to come out there and say that they got basically hacked, which is a malicious third-party actor, that they got hacked during this, is just a little bit too forward. And then a lot of alarm bells were here, plain text passwords. So essentially, when you sign up to a website or to make an account, that when they store, or they say they don't store your information, but they don't just save your password. So if your password is John123, using John as an example again, then on their servers or on somewhere, it's encrypted. It doesn't say John123, it will be like exclamation mark S star colon whatever. It'll mix it up, right? So the fact that they were suggesting that they had plain text passwords and they got caught out during selling your information rose a lot of alarm bells. Before we answer that, we did get a message from the hacker after we got the reply, which you can see here. Any kind of read out stuff that you see is me blocking out people's names that I didn't want to put in that they didn't sort of officially put in. I didn't feel comfortable doing that. But in short, this is like a ransom note that basically says that all of the people at Hub have been knowing what's going on, selling your stuff. They have saved your passwords. And effectively, we've got 70,000 user data and passwords. And if they don't refund everyone and delete their website by October 5th, they're going to release 70,000 people's names, email addresses, and passwords. So that was in the middle of the night, Saturday, so early Sunday morning for me and for you, 3 a.m. UK time. So a lot of people in my side of the planet, you know, especially like Australia, New Zealand over here, we saw all this and we were like, what the hell's going on? And of course, the Hub people will most likely be abed, right? Because it's like 3 a.m. UK time. So I pointed out that something didn't sit right. I didn't like how it looked. If it was true, it's bad. But it's a perfect time for chaos, right? To launch something at 3 a.m. UK time would be the perfect time to make something sit, because most of the Hub people will likely be in England and probably sleeping at that time. Finally, when they woke up, these were the responses that we got from Fantasy Football Hub. So it looked like that they got their Twitter back. Now, that original post from Fantasy Football Hub, the one here that was on their Twitter page, the official Twitter page, at the bottom, it looked like it came from a plugin, which meant that this reply here that says, from Fantasy Football Hub's official Twitter, important message, in the early hours of the morning, hackers gained access to an auto post function for our social website, our social media platforms, right? The issue is resolved. We apologize for any distress caused. We want to reassure every single member that their personal information has not been compromised. The hack occurred through one of our site admins having a weak password, enabling the hackers to bring down the site temporarily. Because at the same time that the hacker used the plugin to post onto their official Twitter, the official website, fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, was also down. And when you clicked on the website, it wanted to translate it to Hungarian, which of course is strange. So it says, as mentioned above, this is resolved as we do not store any personal information, passwords, and bank details. Will is the founder of Fantasy Football Hub, or one of the founders. He also tweeted when they woke up in the morning, last night a hacker gained access to one of our admins' passwords and was able to bring the site down and use that auto post function to socials, right? That plugin. So they're saying that one of the admins has a weak password. So a hacker got into that admin's account who couldn't really do a lot. They could just post on their Twitter, and that was it. And then he goes on to say he's devastated by this. He just wants to reassure members that we do not store passwords or any bank details. Now you can see I've read out other people's names because, of course, at this point, people are saying, oh my God, what about my email, my password, my bank details? Because let's be honest, you're supposed to have a different password for like everything you use, right? That's the point of a password, a code, right? But honestly, as humans, we'll probably have 3, 4, 5 passwords we use for everything, right? The same few passwords that we use for everything. So at this point, people were freaking out saying, well, you know, what do they really have my password? Do they really have my name and my bank information and stuff? So you can say, also people were starting to point out that it was a little bit of a coincidence that the hacking occurred now in the same week when a lot of people got hacked, and they tried to put 2 and 2 together, and maybe they came up with 4, or maybe they came up with 5. We still don't know, but we do know a lot of people that got hacked. Their information is on the file that I'll talk about later. So you can see here, it's probably not a coincidence. It implies that the data breach being exploited to the hacking FPL teams has also been used to access Fantasy Football Hub admin account. That the Hub has been targeted does not make them culpable. If anything, it means the opposite. So this is a Fantasy Football Hub writer. He works with them, or he works for them. I just didn't want to put his personal information on here because he's not the owner. I don't know how else to put it, but it's just not possible that sensitive data could be found by a hacker. And we verified that hasn't happened. It's a likely data breach somewhere else. Ever had a weird login attempt from a different country? This happens all the time. So again, it says here the hack occurred through one of our site admins having a weak password, just like I mentioned before. One person commented it here. So basically, people trust you with personal data, credit card, and information, and websites, and the admin has a poor password. Amazing, lads. And again, this person replied saying, I understand your frustration, but to reiterate, admins on Hub don't have access to any of that stuff. They do not have the ability to post on socials and make changes to the site's content, which is what happened. No sensitive data is stored, so it can't be compromised. So you're thinking now, all right, someone's hacked the auto post function for Fantasy Football Hub, temporarily brought down the site, no big deal. And within 12 hours, it had all changed. So that's where this hacker's message comes back in here on this side, because this red bit that I've scraped out because I didn't want to compromise further people's security were links to pastebin files which showed 1,000 people's names, emails, and passwords. So when Hub came out and said, no way we've been compromised. No way they've got your emails and passwords. We don't store it on our servers. It's impossible. We're not compromised. The hacker, we can assume that he's associated with them, or he knows them, or she. The link was here, and if you copied and pasted the link, it gave you the list of people's emails, passwords, and names. And, you know, you can't get more proof that you've stolen it than that. They've said we're posting 1,000 now, and if you don't submit to our demands, we'll post the other 70,000 probably in the next day or two. And that's it. So at this point, again, everything goes crazy because it's like, hold on. Hub has literally just told us within a few hours. So they got hacked. It was just a plugin. It was just one of the admins' weak passwords. They could just do the auto social function. They couldn't get any of your data. And then within half a day, we've gone from that to, I guess we can assume it's a hacker saying, well, here's a link to the 1,000 of the 70,000 people personal information that I've got, which brings us on to this list of posts where now it's we are aware of a data breach issue. We are providing full information in a post on the site, which will be available as soon as possible. Please bear with us. We'll be working to bring you all the relevant information as quickly as we can. Followed by, regarding the cyber attack we suffered, please read what we know so far, which brings us to this middle point here. So we regret to inform users that on Saturday evening, our website was hacked. We're working with the action fraud and the police on the matter. We want to be completely transparent with our users and members about this. So first, when I get onto after story time, I'm going to be bringing in points about this and other things I don't like about what some websites are doing. But you can't say you're going to be completely transparent with users when a few hours ago you just said everything was fine and there's no way that they could take your names, emails, and passwords. Anyway, what we know so far, the hacker gained access to our WordPress admin. We believe they downloaded our list of users' names and emails. Regrettably, they appear to have also gained access to users' passwords. This should not be possible as we do not store passwords. I just want to point out at this point as well that they say that at first they didn't have access and they didn't store passwords to somehow they've taken the passwords and we don't know how. It's your website. It's your business. How do you not know? But then you tried to give us confidence to say that, well, they don't have your bank information. How do you know? You said that you don't store it. And then you say, oh, they've taken it, they've hacked it and somehow downloaded it. We don't know how they've done that. But your bank information's all right. But we don't store that either. So what am I supposed to trust? What am I supposed to believe in this situation? However, we are looking into this matter urgently. What have they not done? They cannot access any payment or card information. This is handled by payment gateways such as PayPal or Stripe. Again, I do feel for Hub here. I don't want to look like I'm heartless, but it's difficult to trust someone when they've said and promised you that something hasn't happened and it has, to then immediately say that, well, don't worry. Okay, we're wrong about that, but we're not wrong about this. You can't say we don't store your passwords, we don't have your information. Oh, the hacker has it. Okay, but we don't have your payment info. That's PayPal and Stripe. That's not us. So you can see why people are having some trust issues with any news that is coming out of there as we speak. So what are they doing? They're speaking with the police, putting in steps to tighten out security and undertaking malware scan of the existing site. What they recommend you to do is to change your password for Hub or any other website. Now, I want to just pause for a second. If I know I'll finish the story, we'll finish off. To all our users, it seems that somehow the hacker has managed to get email and password information from our site. This should not be possible as we do not store that data. I'm absolutely devastated and sorry to hear about this for incredible users. I'm in contact with the police and action fraud. We will be completely transparent. There's that word. It feels like anytime when someone says trust me or I'm transparent, it rings an alarm bell. And keep you updated on the above article as things develop. I do want to point out now, guys, at this moment, they were not the only company that were attempted to be hacked. They were not, right? So this will bring me on to the ranty section coming up, because they weren't the only ones. But the problem is they didn't have the security. They were not the only ones who were attempted, the only company that were attempted to be hacked during this situation. Let's start with the things that haven't sat right with me. So again, I do want to reiterate that, of course, Hub didn't want this to happen. And of course, it's not in this situation a good thing to hack someone like a company. But some things are going to come to light that people are not going to like. And I know this isn't going to be a popular video, and I know people are not going to like it because Hub is extremely popular. They have some extremely popular accounts out there that write for them, contribute to them, work for them, are friends with them. And I do feel sorry for the workers of that situation. I do, because it's wrong. But that doesn't excuse the level of incompetence that has occurred in this situation. Like I said, they were not the only site or company to attempted to have been hacked. So first, I'll also say that I did have a Hub membership. I did sign up, but not a paying member. We'll have to wait and see about if they've got the 70,000 list of usernames and emails and passwords. But Hub have emailed a lot of people saying, please go change password. We've been hacked and so on. I never got that email. And I'm a member. And I'll be honest with you guys, before I changed my password, I had the same email and password for Hub that I did for FPL. It was the same. Stupid of me, but also when you sign up to a trusted business or a company, you kind of assume that they've got some form of security, which in this situation, they clearly haven't. One admin, where's the stopgap? One admin having a weak password should not bring down your entire website. It shouldn't. It's as simple as that. They shouldn't have access or the power to be able to do that. Where's the safety valves in this company, in this situation? There isn't any. And now there's people panicking, which you can understand, because like I said, if I've used the same email or the same password for example, my bank information, and going back to trust, how can you trust when people within a 12-hour swing have promised you it was impossible to take away your names, email addresses, and passwords, to then literally being shown by the hacker, well, I've got the information, so here you go, and I'm going to post it, and I'm going to threaten you. Now, of course, I'm not backing the hacker at all. I think it's wrong. But something else has come to light where the hacker has sat there with nothing to lose and said, you know, they've been selling your data, and I'm going to prove it, and all the people know it. So we're going to wait and see what occurs in this situation. Maybe they're just going to point to terms and condition, and maybe it was in there before you signed up. Maybe they're allowed to save your user data. It doesn't sit well with me. Another reason I'm not happy with the way that they handled the situation was the time that they wasted. So, and the lack of telling everyone. So earlier I said I've not got the email that has told me to change my password, that they've been hacked. They've only posted on Twitter. And the reason why I'm doing this YouTube video is because a lot of you guys don't have Twitter. So you don't know about this situation. And they've left a huge gap. So we don't know when this hack officially properly happened. Was it at that 3 a.m. post? Was it earlier? And then when they came out a few hours later in that morning and they said, all right, it's actually fine. Don't worry about anything. They didn't suggest anything. They just said they didn't take your details. Don't worry about it. And then for 12 hours, and then they come back and say, oh yeah, they have got your emails and passwords and full names. That was like 12 hours wasted of just, they should have come out and said, we've been hacked, we're investigating, please take precautions, go and change all your passwords. But they didn't. And that actually gave the hacker even more time, almost half a day longer to go playing around with people's email addresses and FPL teams. Instead of just not admitting anything, saying that there was a problem, they had been hacked, and they were investigating. It was poor decision-making, poor management, poor PR, whatever you want to call it. But it was poor safety of their customers for telling them everything was fine when it wasn't, and therefore giving the supposed bad guy, the hacker, even more time to wreak havoc. Something else I've never liked as well about Hub and other services is any other company that asks you for your email and login details for a third company, you've always been warned to never share your email address and password. Yet Hub and other services ask you to give them your FPL login details, including the password. Now, I have been a member of Fantasy Football Scout for a couple of years, and all of the data they have, and the Rate My Team tools, and the algorithms, and all of the shebang that they offer you for the membership, they have never asked, nor never will ask you for a password or your login details, because they don't need it. Every year you get a new ID. And we share our IDs with each other. So you can look at my team, look at my history, look at my mini leagues and stuff like that, and check out my team and how I'm doing in my mini leagues. But you can't touch anything. You can just see it. And that's exactly what Fantasy Football Scout uses. So I have never agreed with any third party, any extension, any service that requires you to give them your FPL login details and passwords. And again, that shouldn't be necessarily on you. Because when a company in business who is supposedly trusted with almost 100,000 followers on Twitter, with a large following, lots of very popular and famous Twitter account users and YouTube content creators and so on are backing and working with this company, you trust it. And it's just massively backfired through mass incompetence and zero security. I want to finish on the fact that I didn't particularly want to make this video, but it did get to me in a way that I've not seen I've not seen Hub or big accounts necessarily acknowledge this problem or promote this issue and help people out. It's been posted on Twitter. Some people have got emails, but there's a lot of people out there that don't go on Twitter. There's been nothing on YouTube. It's no problem at all. They've not taken the information they've taken your emails and passwords and full names. What else have they not told us? How do we know that they're not taking the bank information? They say they use Stripe and PayPal. They don't. That's not on our service. They said the same thing about your emails and passwords. So it's here. The video is here to just go out there, change all your passwords. Obviously, look for suspicious things with bank activity if you're a paying member of Hub or any third-party service for FPL or anything that you guys are using. But it winds me up because sometimes accounts and YouTube channels and creators and Twitter accounts or whatever, they don't want to get involved. They don't want to speak out. They don't want to damage their brand or whatever. And I'm just not like that. If I see something that I think is just plain wrong, I'm gonna point it out, and I don't care the fact that the accounts that I'm talking about or Hub, a site that I'm talking about, is absolutely gigantic, and I'm just a little guy. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't, because it's wrong, and we are going to see more things come to light. Hopefully everything gets sorted out and the people are protected in this situation, and they can say we're sorry, which and I appreciate, I genuinely, I feel sorry for the contributors and the writers and the content creators and even the owner, Will. I completely understand, it's a nightmare. They never wanted it to happen. They've not done it on purpose, but it has happened. It is negligence, it is incompetence that it's got to this situation, but it could have just been handled so much better in so many steps. And this isn't the first time I've looked at decisions that Hub have made. Some of the people I've had on board before have upset some people in the community as well. And you're asking for trust when within 12 hours you've turned around and completely changed the story. You're asking and saying you're giving transparency. I've not seen any evidence of that as of yet. Of course, it's in police hands now. Whatever they're doing, then that's fine. I'm not bothered about likes and comments on this video, guys. This is just here to let non-Twitter followers know that Hub has been hacked. It's possible if you are a Hub member, it's possible that your information is on there. So please get out there, change your passwords, protect your bank, just in case it does turn out that that wasn't on their server and they've actually got details to that account as well. And just stay safe and have a good international break. Hopefully this is the only thing that happens and it gets sorted out within the international break, because I think the people have the right to know what is going on and how this has come to be.